Hey guys, what's up? Roshi is here. Quick deck tech. This is a ultra budget deck. You should still be able to get wins and climb the ladder quite handily with this. You could easily see you getting masters. Basically just get enough reps in and your win rate will probably be like 55%, 60%, maybe even closer to 50%. But you'll have really fast games and just smoke your way through the ladder. Quite literally, this deck is fire. Let's just not a whole lot of crazy stuff going here. I don't usually play these kinds of decks, but just for the sake of showing a budget deck that kind of anyone can pick up real cheap and quick and start earning some coin, this would be good for that. So let's hop into it. First off, we've got Auto Ted. Ted blows up things with Regenerate. Very solid start to the game. Also a Sentinel, which fits some of our synergy quite well. Being able to pay one and discard a card to pump him and ping away blockers is pretty solid. Yeah, Auto Ted definitely earns his slot. He might seem kind of weak on paper, but trust me, when you play against him, he can really, really take over games real fast. Next up, we've got Cautious Traveler. This guy's a 3-2. He can only block unless you have a Sentinel, but even just blocking, he's fine. We're playing a ton of Sentinels, though, so most often it's not a downside at all, and you're able to start smacking for 3 as early as turn 2. So he gets the job done. Eager Deputy gives us some much-needed plunder to make sure we curve out all the way up to 4, and also doubles as a 1-drop that will grow throughout the game. We're quite easily able to grow it all the way up, so this can definitely put some compounding damage on your opponent throughout the game. Next up, Flameheart Patroller, Surge, +2. This is really only ever going to be a 2-power 3-3 on attack. Not the greatest minion, probably something we'd consider replacing, or maybe we'd even be better off splashing another Keller. But for the sake of this being a budget deck, 2-power that attacks for 3 is just fine. Passionate Stonehammer, kind of the same boat. This thing will smack real hard. If you have any way to buff it at all, it'll get out of hand and be a massive attack, oftentimes knocking your opponent's health down to half. My favorite way to do that is with Red Plate Crusher. Red Plate Crasher, I'm sorry. But we also have Gloves of the Pyromancer and Shugo Standard in the market, so you can use these to buff your boy. Next up, Barricade Basher, 3-power 5-5. You just get rid of whatever the worst card in your hand is, and you hit this guy into your opponent 5 times and they're dead. Might Weaver, we've got plenty of beefy boys. We've got stuff like Red Plate Crasher buffing things and Ancient Defenses buffing things. So it's very reasonable to be turning on some really crazy double damage attacks. If your opponent just doesn't really have an answer to any of your big guys on the board and you slam this, you might just one-shot them out of nowhere, which is great. Moving along, another 3-power 5-5 to go along with our Basher. This is part of the reason we're mono fire. And yeah, it's a really budget card. If you're playing on any sort of budget, I would definitely advise you to pick up your playset of Prism Golems and play a monofaction deck. You'll just get free wins by playing 3-power 5-5s all the time, and it's great. Red Plate Crasher, another uncommon that fits the theme, and like I said, really gets out of hand. If you have an Ancient Defenses in play when you play this, it'll give a unit +6, which is hilarious. And yeah, you'll just be smacking people out of nowhere with this. Tempered Sentinel, we're playing all kinds of Sentinels and we're buffing them, so being able to exhaust one of them and just get another body on the board can be all it takes to just overwhelm your opponent and get a quick W. Ancient Defenses, 3-power. When you play Sentinel, it gets +2 and deal 3 damage to an enemy. You can decide if you would like to play something like Flash Fry over Ancient Defenses. I kind of like how Ancient Defenses, though, will get some extra value later on and turn some of our minions into bigger guys. But potentially saving that 1 power and playing Flash Fry and dealing with regen could be worth not having it. Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, is Ancient Defenses can go face, where cards like Flash Fry cannot. So that is another perk of this, is it a way to send some damage upstairs and close out games. Fire etchings is the most budget way to access a market and give you some access to some nice utility while also making sure that you hit all your power drops for the game. So we'll go ahead and play this card. You know, maybe later on in the game you'll play a minion and exhaust it right away to go to your market. That way you don't lose any tempo. Definitely don't play this instead of getting damage in. But yeah, that's where this card comes in. Laser Blast, nice common card here, very cheap. And all of our Sentinels can basically, this is basically 1 power kill whatever your opponent has in our deck. If they ever have something that's bigger than Laser Blast can deal with, you've already got more problems going on anyway, and it might be time to move on to the next game. For the power base, I'm playing Vows just for some thinning. People will tell me to the end of the earth that this is a dumb idea, and you know what? Those people barely even play the game anymore, so forget them. All I gotta say is drawing power sucks, and we'd rather not. So if you like thinning, play it. If not, you know, you do you. This is just an option, an example of how you can play the deck. Feel free to make your power base however you'd like. And last but not least, this card is a rare, so I can totally understand just playing a Fire Sigil instead, but I just figured, you know, since this is a power, no point not including it. If you don't have it or don't want to spend the money on it, just don't. It's not a big deal. It's not necessary at all. It's just nice to get some random 4/1s on the board and get some extra free pressure where you can. Otherwise, feel free to not craft it, and your deck will be even cheaper. For the market, we've got Ruin, 1 power, blow up an attachment, pretty good rate. Turn down, if your opponents are playing big, nasty spells, you can grab this and just sit on it. It's very easy to hold up 1 power, and you might blow someone out of nowhere. Edict of Shavka, any sort of Justice or Primal based decks, this will be a huge tempo. If they happen to have a weapon on them, you can also play this and just obliterate their face. But that's not something that happens very often. And then Gloves of the Pyromancer, this will give us an Outlaw on the bottom of our deck and buff one of our guys. Typically you'll be grabbing this when you have a Passionate Stonehammer you haven't berserked yet, and you'll go ahead and grab your gloves, and maybe whenever your hand's empty, which will happen quite frequently, you have a little 3/1 to play, so it's kind of nice. Last but not least, we have Shugo Standard. If you ever need more power, you can use it for that, but most likely we're using this just to give Overwhelm to one of our big boys. Let's say we're setting up a big Red Plate Crasher turn, or maybe we have a Might Weaver in play. We'll give that unit Overwhelm and +4, and that should close a lot of games out. Actually, one of the most efficient spells that does this, and it has the perk of being a power, so I'm not really sure there's a scenario where this deck has 4 influence and doesn't also have 5 power. So not often we're ever actually using this as a power, but if you had access to the other merchant, potentially that would be better than playing etchings, and then you could maybe use that to fix your power. So tried to keep this quick, ended up talking for 8 minutes, but this deck will slaughter your way up the ladder. Very simple to play. You just play guys and kill their guys and punch them in the face. That's it. That's all you do. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I'm sure other people have done stuff like this. I just tried to make the same idea, but as cheap as possible for you guys. So yeah, I know I usually do the exact opposite, where my deck is like 75 legendaries. So this will be something you can play that's not 75 legendaries. So enjoy, catch me on YouTube, catch me on Twitch, you know, join the Discord, whatever. I have a Patreon now, all kinds of fun stuff. Thanks for watching, and have a fantastic rest of your day.